My party is currently inside a flesh cavern trying to find a heart and lungs to feed the flesh mouth so the door will open to the boss room. Welcome to the Twisted Pint Tavern. Today we're visiting r/D&D to check in on all you weary D&D players and ask, what's currently happening in your D&D campaign? Are you okay? We somehow turned a stealthy museum heist into a zombie apocalypse survival adventure. Man, whatever you were stealing should have stayed locked up. Like, that's not a whoopsie, we stole the wrong thing, you're talking Ark of the Covenant kind of crap. I turned into a wolf and let a lost toddler ride me. Now we're setting up a trap for an undead scouting party. Also, one of my party members made friends with a building-sized cat made out of mist. Okay, so turning into a wolf and hanging out with a toddler or whatever, let's talk about the building-sized cat made of mist, because I need more details on that. Oh geez, what's not happening? We're currently training with a night organization in order to clear our names of one of our characters' murder of his brother. We were charmed when the murder took place. That same character made a deal with a high-powered wizard that allows him to take on some of his power in exchange for nearly killing him when he does it. Two of our other characters married and got engaged to siblings who turned out to be cursed to shift into other more murderous people. And we met a woman who might be connected with us being charmed, and she turned out to be the most powerful woman in the world, maybe the BBEG. You know, this just sounds like a lot of very unfortunate things occurring back to back, and an odd number of them have to do with murderers, but this is D&D. We've just met the Green Dragon, and he tasked us with defeating the Frost Dragon and its cultist followers. Next week's session is pushed back, but I'm hoping to convince the DM to let us have a pretty woman-esque shopping spree in his absence, because certainly the dragon gave us gold to prepare ourselves. Plus there's crocodile skin that my halfling self needs to get made into boots. It'll go great with the Bone Naga skull helmet. And our druid needs a croc skin cap. Look, DMs, let your players have the fun shopping episode or the beach episode or whatever they need, especially when they're about to go into a dragon cult fight. They might want that downtime. My party is currently inside a flesh cavern trying to find a heart and lungs to feed the flesh mouth so the door will open to the boss room. They already killed the tunnel worm and took out its brain to feed to it. What the hell is a flesh cavern? What monstrous thing is your DM putting you through? If you guys have any idea what this person's talking about, let me know down in the comments, and also feel free to share your crazy and weird campaign stories. The party got their hands on a gross living biotech ship. Upon going over all of the Meatball's odd features and quirks, they decided their immediate next priority was to use it to seize a less awful ship. Fortunately, they quickly ran into pirates. They told the pirates they were under plague quarantine to deter them, which worked. Then they snuck aboard the pirate ship while the pirates were busy arguing over whether to board the party's ship. One swift boarding action later, they got their hands on a much more traditional ship, but the previous captain was a dramatic sorcerer villain, so the bridge had some rather gothic decorations. Now they're working on getting a crew since they're not great at managing a ship yet. Oh, but they can manage a giant floating meatball biotech ship, cause that transition's, completely out of the question. But I do love me some good pirate D&D. I like pirates in D&D. The party just discovered that Rasputin was behind it all along. Have they not seen Anastasia? I feel like that's common knowledge, dude. My players entered their first dungeon and nearly got a heart attack and started screaming at me in panic because they didn't want to deal with a trapped staircase. The staircase is filled with fog, and at the bottom stands a monolith that produces electricity. When somebody steps onto the third stair, they get 1d6 lightning damage. That spooked them so hard they were tempted to leave the dungeon altogether. Look, if you don't want to deal with traps in a dungeon, that's okay, I get it. But if a trapped stair is what's turning you away, you do know it can get a lot worse than trapped stairs in dungeons, right? We just brought my character's father back to life. We control basically a whole country, have alliances with everyone outside of the High Elves, and control huge fleets of ships on both the material plane and in the Astral Sea. We're about to rip a hole from the Astral Sea into the material plane in order to bring an army through to defeat the elves and their blue dragon Archon Lapis, one of the lieutenants of Tiamat, her first son. If he isn't stopped, he'll summon his mama. We're a level 15 party, shit is getting wild. We imagine our game will end somewhere around level 17. We're getting close to the end, which is bittersweet, cause I don't want it to end, but also, holy shit, it's a blast right now. When you see a campaign through to the very end, that is one of the most rewarding and worst things you can possibly experience. Because on one hand, you've developed an entire story, an epic with these characters, and you've watched them get from level 1 to like level 17, 18, 19, 20, whatever. And on the other hand, you're saying goodbye to some of your best friends from the last few years, and it's really sad. My players decided to kill a gnome king by throwing him at the wall. So now a party of 6 is being hunted by the gnome world. Forget the quest line of save the princess from the dragon. The players are building an army to fight the gnomes, and we're gonna have a race war. I'm all for it though, lol. I've built this pseudo system for alliances and such, and the gnomes and players have been having strategic meetings with kings and leaders and are building their forces. The battle is gonna be epic. The princess is probably already dead, lol. Look, man, I shouldn't have to tell you, it's the #1 rule in D&D, it says it right in the Dungeon Master's Guide. When you have the opportunity to go into a gnome war, you do that and let the princess die. A cat priest in the party tried to yell gabagool into the asshole of a stone gargoyle to see if it would do damage. I'll let you guys decide. Would that deal damage? I don't know. What's going on in my games? Well, the pirate group is setting up to make their final push to El Dorado, but an evil Cthulhu-like cult is starting to show themselves and put a twist on things. Another group is currently knee-deep in some goblin caves with traps that give them Home Alone flashbacks, and in the game I'm playing in, we had to split the party. So for the last session, 2 of us had to play NPCs while the other guy resolved his solo mission, which means I got to play as familiar, an imp with gold-pierced nipples. Yes, it is canon. And with that totally PG note, we're gonna wrap up the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you've not done so already. Feel free to join the Twisted Pint Tavern Discord server where you can chat all kinds of things D&D and share stories and whatever other shenanigans we get up to in there, because I genuinely can't predict it anymore. But again, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see all of you wonderful people in the next video. Okay, seriously, what the hell's a flesh cavern?